Hello, my beautiful soul tribe. Welcome to the channel Ascend with Me Tarot. My name is Dawn. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for pushing on that play button, for choosing this video. I'm very blessed to have you watching, so thank you for being here. We're going to do a general collective reading. I'm not exactly sure what's going to come up. I've got a few decks I'm already kind of eyeballing here that Spirit wants me to pull from, so we're just going to flow and see where this goes, all right? Only take what resonates and leave what does not. Okay, always use your own discernment. And before we get started, I'm just going to ground myself with this singing bowl. So if you'd like to join me, just listen to the tone and take you a few deep breaths and call that energy back to center. Here we go, beautifuls. All right, let's get started. Okay. So I want to talk about the energy around our collective spirit. What do you want to talk about for my Soul Tribe Collective? Father God, Holy Spirit, thank you for the opportunity to tap into the energy today. I ask that you bring in truth, clarity, healing, confirmation, encouragement, or enlightenment of the highest vibration of healing for my collective. Archangel Michael, please put a white light of divine protection around my energy, my soul tribe's energy, and our reading. Thank you. Archangel Raphael, thank you for your healing energy. Thank you. Thank you, ancestors. Amen. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. Moving on from emotional loss. Okay, collective. Spirit wants us to talk about moving on from emotional loss. Okay. So we are moving on from emotional loss. I know it's been a tough journey, okay? It's been hard to have to dig deep, right? But we do have a new beginning, Soul Tribe. We are moving on. We're not stuck. We're not stagnant. Okay, we're moving forward. So Spirit's, saying that they're very well aware of the things that we've been having to face and purge within the collective, but we're not stuck there. I'm hearing that song Brighter Days in my head. I'm not going to sing it, but yeah, go look that song up, Brighter Days. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. What are we moving towards, Spirit? What are we moving towards? Taking action in our own lives. Action. So we're moving towards having to make a decision or standing up for something, possibly. One more on action. Yeah, towards our own abundance. That's what I just channeled. So, okay, so moving on from emotional loss. Taking action towards our abundance. Okay, standing up for yourself along your journey here. What else? Yeah, because we've gone through a transformation. We know this. I don't know why Spirit keeps bringing this up. I mean, it's somewhat, I don't know. Maybe they want us to, I don't know how we're going to break into this and see what they want to bring up. But I swear, it seems like Spirit has, maybe there's some stragglers I'm hearing. Some of us are still struggling with the emotional loss. We're still in the thick of the moving on. And maybe that's why Spirit's bringing it in. Maybe we're still in the transition of the transformation, okay? Maybe that's why it's coming on in here. But if we can take this action steps to heal from emotional loss, to find ways to move on, to actually dig deep, do the work, and move on from emotional loss. And what I'm hearing is, well, moving on from emotional loss means no more sitting in the grief of it, okay? No more resentment. I don't know. Anyways, we're going through a transformation. Tell me about transformation. Yeah, having to let go of a 10 of Cups. Ooh, that hurts. Ten of Cups in reverse. A lot of us having to let go of family situations or things that we once saw as our emotional fulfillment, right? There's a transformation going on, and we're having to release one thing in order to take action towards our blossoming abundance in a new way. Yeah, what we're moving on from, even though it feels like an emotional loss, Spirit's saying it's been oppressive. It's been a cycle of oppression in our lives. Okay, and that's why we need to move on. And what you think that you're losing, that you're grieving, this Ten of Cups in reverse, it's all about the perspective of this, because really it's not a loss at all. It's a protection. This is a Ten of Cups in reverse. It's an oppressive cycle, an oppressive energy, okay, that you've been carrying. It's so really what the loss is. Yes, it feels like grief and it's emotional loss, but really it's the fear of change. Okay, it's the fear that they want us to look at. I'm hearing, because yes, it hurts, and to have to let go of something that maybe you once always believed or always felt or just knew or thought. Okay, but that's really what you're grieving. You're grieving Spirit saying we're grieving the change. We're grieving, the change is what it is. But because if you really think about what you're moving on from, it's been oppressive. It hasn't been for your highest vibration, right? It's been an oppressive cycle. That's what's transforming, though. And as you transform that, you're moving towards victory and success and new partnerships. These are old partnerships that Spirit's had us making a decision about, okay, to grow and become independent in order to blossom into. So we've had to make decisions to face the emotional loss, to have the courage and the strength to move on, to take the action to become independent and go after our dreams, go after our victory, our success, go after our blossoming abundance. Once you make the decision about these certain partnerships that you have been grieving, even though just because they're oppressive doesn't mean that you're not going to grieve the situation, right? Sometimes the more oppressive it is, the more you're going to grieve it, honestly, because you got a lot of attached energy associated with it. That's why it's oppressive. You've been attached to it, even though it's been an oppressive cycle, even though it hasn't been a cycle that has been abundant, for example, or that has been conducive for your own growth, right? It's still that sometimes that's even the hardest ones to let go of, because you don't wake up to the fact that it's oppressive till you wake up to the fact that it's oppressive. When you're going through these cycles, okay, you're just going through it. You think it's the norm. You think it's the way you should accept or be and things like that. But then one day, Spirit came in and woke us up and told us it was time to move on. And it happened in the blink of an eye. And then Spirit showed you what was oppressive about the cycle, how it's not conducive for your Ten of Cups upright, and what you needed to transform in order to turn that Ten of Cups right side up. That's what we're moving towards, okay? That's what we're transforming. But first you had to take an action step you had to make a conscious effort, a conscious decision to decide about these partnerships that, yes, if you chose to be independent and you chose yourself, it would come with emotional loss. It would come with grief. It would come with major changes in your world. And that's where the courage part comes in, to face that fear of those changes, to face that fear of having to go through a cycle of grief to be healthy, to let go of something that you may have been attached to or holding on to, blindly, or while you were just kind of asleep in the world. And a lot of it's family. A lot of it was something that we once viewed as emotional fulfillment that we had to realize was really an oppressive cycle, is what I'm getting. Yeah, we had to see the truth. Ace of Swords. We had to come to this truth. And this has taught us a lesson about love, okay? About what is fair love, what is balanced love. What do you deserve? What is your justice when it comes to love? Whether it's a lover, a family member, a friend, a co-worker, the way we love our children. What is the balanced, divine way to love one another? And that's what we're learning through this process, Okay, as we're waking up, we're learning how to be love in a more unified way, in a more divinely aligned way, not in an attached way, not in an imprisoning way, a constricting way, but in the just way, the divine way. Okay, but it hurts to have to. We've had to go through the judgment. We've had to go through the karma. We've all had to go through our karma, which triggered our dark night of the soul. Okay, you either sit in that dark night of the soul, or you keep your head buried in the sand and you sit in fear and you avoid moving on. You avoid the transformation. You avoid the grief. You avoid letting go of codependent situations, and you just continue to sit and recycle your energy through an oppressive cycle. Or you stand up, you be brave, you take courage, you see the things that are no longer serving your highest good. No matter what the emotional tide of these things are, no matter what the financial tide of these things are, okay, if it's not conducive for your spiritual growth, if it's not conducive for your health, your mental, emotional, spiritual health, then only you can make the change. Only you can decide to step out of that karmic cycle into a cycle of justice, into a cycle of saying, okay, maybe I've been wrong about the way I've been perceiving, and maybe I've just been in tradition, right? Maybe I've been looking at the tradition of love, the tradition of relationship, the tradition of attachments in a skewed way, because I'm looking at these things through these eyes of attachment, through these eyes of maybe jealousy or envy or the fear of emotional loss. It's coming from a lower understanding, a lower vibration, and the divine is here, spirit is here to teach us that's exactly, these attachments are what creates these karmic cycles that we're all working so hard to be aware of and break free from. Because the karmic cycles are the prison, man. They're the prison. Freedom comes when you see clearly, when you wake up, and you wake up from the matrix, you wake up from attachments to one another, you wake up from fear of emotional loss, okay? And you come into divine alignment that we're all one regardless. We're all unified. It doesn't matter. Loss is a bad habit, Spirit says. The way we view loss, it's something that collectively Spirit's teaching us how to face, how to realign our perspective around, so that we can break free from karmic cycles, so that we can break free from attachment and trying to be codependent on one another, okay? Because it's like we become codependent in certain relationships, and when you do that, it's almost like you completely go to sleep when it comes to what your own soul's plan has been for you or is for you. You bypass going through your transformations because you struggle moving on. Maybe it's out of obligation. Maybe it's out of this false understanding of what love is and what tradition should be or is not. Maybe it's out of a codependent energy. I don't know, guys, but this is what Spirit's talking about. Okay, we are moving on. We have taken the action steps to become independent, to look at our own codependent traits, whether we're codependent on another or we've allowed others to become codependent on our energy. Okay, that it's like Spirit has told us it's time to make decisions. It's time to be brave and deal with emotional loss when it comes to partnership, and transform this habit of feeling loss, the way we perceive loss, and see that the truth of oppression. That I feel like the way we perceive loss and the way we perceive ourselves in relationship with one another, right? The way that we become codependent on one another is what ignites this like oppressive cycle with one another. We call it love. We're looking for the 10 of Cups in those situations, but it's going to be an illusion. It's never going to be a fulfillment in those type of situations, because love is free, right? It's all encompassing. It's accepting. It's unconditional. Okay. It's not controlling. It's not abusive. It's not codependent. It's not blind. They say love is blind, but it's not supposed to be. You know? Not in that way to where we just kind of keep our head down and go to sleep and we fall in these patterns of what it's supposed to be like to be in a relationship, or how we're supposed to show up in this certain relationship, whether it's with your family, your lover, or your children, or whatever. Like we want to put all these like boxes, standards that around relationships with one another, whenever each relationship is individual. We're all individuals. So it's like each relationship can't fit into the same standard, whether they're a lover, a friend, a family member, or a coworker. It's person by person. We're all unique, right? We should relate to one another in a personable way, individually, uniquely with one another. Not that, oh, well, this is a lover, so we have to do this because this is what lovers do. Or this is my child, so it's got to look like this because this is how people raise their kids. Or, this is my boss, so I can only relate to them in this way. You have to change, Spirit saying you have to be open to just seeing each other as souls. Taking the labels off one another, taking the expectations off of one another. Stop putting each other in boxes of the way things are supposed to be, and let ourselves truly be guided and taught what it means to be in unconditional love, to be broken free from the illusion of oppressive love, to truly be in this transformative energy. We're in a day and age, you guys. We're in a time that we've never been in before, right? This is new for all of us. The world's never experienced the blessings and not the blessings and the hardships. It's a new generation. Every generation experiences in different ways for different lessons from the spiritual realm, from the divine. So we're in a newness of something here, and we can't hold ourselves to the old perspectives or in the old box expecting to be new. We have to flow with what is being revealed in regards to what is new. What is being revealed? I mean, it's never been revealed before. Now is the time that these certain things are being revealed, and Spirit has us focusing on the way that we grieve, the way that we show up and take action in our own life and take action in relationship with one another. Spirit tells me God sees our heart. So if your actions on the outside of in your relationships, if your actions outside of yourself and your relationships are not in alignment with what your heart on the inside of you is saying, Spirit looks at that. Okay? That's called spiritual integrity, they're telling me. And so we find ourselves doing things out of obligation. We find ourselves, but your heart's not in it kind of thing. Okay? Spirit saying there needs to be an alignment of mind, body, and soul. Like, so your heart, the things that you choose to take action on, your heart should be in alignment with those things. You should, if not, then your motives are skewed. Your intention is skewed, and Spirit sees that. So it's important. And then when that happens, Spirit starts bringing in certain situations to oppress you, to show you that maybe your heart isn't truly in something, or your heart is out of alignment, or another's heart may not be in it. Their heart may be out of alignment. That's why we go through these oppressive cycles. It's to teach us. Okay? Everything's to teach us, to show us how to evolve and adapt and what to be aware of and how to raise the vibration of our understandings of the things we accept, the things we allow ourselves to accept, or that we allow ourselves to accept of society, of the collective. Okay? There's karma going on in regards to these loverships with this judgment and justice on love. That's like karmic cycles, okay, that Spirit is forcing transformation in, I'm hearing. So it's been a forcing of transformation. But you have to first be the one to decide that you have to take you have to be like conscious and aware that I no longer want to be in oppressive cycles. Even if I have to let this go family, friends, lovers, even if I have to move on from what I thought would break me to lose. If you don't move on willingly, and if it's not in alignment with where you're going, or with what's in your heart, Spirit will come in and shake the foundation and force you to move on regardless. And when you have to do that, it's a little bit more painful than if you're just choosing on your own to take the action, okay? Is what I'm getting here. But so us making a decision to come out of codependent energy and to focus on our victory, to focus on how can we be successful, how can we blossom, and abundance. Yes, it speaks of finances, but this is about spiritual abundance, emotional abundance, mental abundance. This is speaking about health, choosing to come out of codependent energy, and then choosing abundant energy, more healthy energy, mentally, emotionally, spiritually healthy energy. That's us being able to recognize that, and choosing to take action to become healthier, to show up healthier in connection with one another. That's like a big deal. That's like your passage into this transformation. It's like your keys from your oppressive jail cells, guys. Like whatever oppressive cycles you've karmically been repeating or feeling stuck in. Like it starts with a decision, a perspective, and understanding of, okay, no matter if it's hard, no matter if my foundation is going to get shook up, no matter if I have to learn a new way, I'm going to follow Spirit. I'm going to take action, and I'm going not to lean on others in this world, but I'm going to lean on Spirit and the capabilities that the Divine has given me to grow, to transform, to be abundant, and stand on my own 2 feet. Okay, emotionally, spiritually, and in the physical, right? It's all about standing on your own 2 feet and breaking free from traditional ways of being in that box is what they're telling me, okay? So let's see what else I can look at here, Spirit. So let's look at action. Well, first let's see what we're moving on from. Where do you want me to go, Spirit? I want us to get focused. Yeah, focused and be willing to take a risk on yourself. I'm hearing. Hold on, y'all. Action. I'm trying to figure out which stack. Okay, so how to move on. So moving on, then we'll go to action. So how do we move on, Spirit? Like, how are we able to move on from this emotional loss? What is best serving us as we move on from this emotional loss? We've made the conscious decision, right? Focusing on your creativity, your creative manifestations, focusing on this energy, your independence, okay, is giving you strength to move on, they're saying. It says, I have the ability to manifest and create positive outcomes in my life. So choosing that if it's not positive, if it's oppressive, then you don't give yourself you don't even allow yourself to say, oh, well, I might stay in this, or maybe I should fix this, or you don't even give yourself that option. There is no choice. Their only choice is to move on. When something is oppressive, when something isn't positive, if it isn't helping you manifest positive outcomes in your life, then it's not for you. It's that simple, and it's that hard at the same time, because usually those things that it's supposed to be simple to be able to leave behind are the ones that you have the deepest rooted attachments to, the ones that are going to cause you this deep rooted emotional grief. But that's where courage comes in, okay? And that self-love and the ability to choose for your soul self, for your higher self, versus the tradition of the matrix and your old perceptions and understandings of how to be and show up with one another, okay? Anyway, so it says, I have the ability to manifest and create positive outcomes in my life. It is time for me to manifest what I need. I ask myself, what do I need? I am optimistic and creative in carrying out all of the tasks that come my way, even the mundane ones. and I maintain a positive attitude in all that I do. I am open to receive, and I am deserving. So this is what's going to help us move on. Staying positive, okay? Choosing, consciously making that choice to choose self-love, to choose, to really look and say, is this having a positive effect on my life, or is it having an oppressive effect on my life? Don't let the fear of emotional loss hold you back. Okay? Don't let the fear of making a mistake hold you back, because there are no mistakes. If it's an oppressive cycle, the answer will always be that there needs to be distance, because when you're in an oppressive cycle, you don't have time to catch your breath. You don't have time to see that you're being oppressed even, right? It takes distance from that cycle sometimes to even realize that you were in an oppressive cycle and what was oppressive about it. You might know something's off, but you can't put your finger on it, right? That's because you're too close. So at least make the choice to create yourself some distance so you can focus on awareness and self-love and gain some clarity in your mental clarity about it, okay? So tell me about emotional loss. How are we going to deal with that? Acknowledge, spirit, you're never alone. There is no true emotional loss. Yes, we go through grief and we grieve the things that we perceive that we lose, but there is no true loss. Loss is a bad habit that we collectively need to purge and gain new truth and understanding around, so that we can get rid of this aspect of emotional loss from the collective, because it's all about consciousness. Okay, but anyways, acknowledge, spirit. I trust in higher source, and I acknowledge my direct connection with it. In the stillness, I listen for the wisdom inside, and I am open to the spirituality that is within and all around me. I know that love is the creative force. I meditate and welcome mystical truth. I am open to seeking guidance in my spiritual quest from a spiritual teacher, master, or guru. Okay, so yes, Spirit wants to be. It's almost like these situations where you do grieve from emotional loss. There are opportunities, right? There are opportunities for Spirit to teach us, to get our attention, for us to go within and hear Spirit more clearly. Okay, when maybe we've been distracted before, possibly. I don't know, but when you feel emotional loss, Spirit wants you to lean on Spirit, right? God wants you to lean on Him for your comfort, okay? Not trying to feel that with another person so you don't grieve, right? Not trying to feel that spot or that space energetically with an illusion or a distraction, so you don't have to feel loss or grief. Like Spirit's, once you face it and you give it to God, you give it to the universe, this grief, then Spirit fills that space with Spirit, with faith and trust and protection and comfort and guidance. And then Spirit shows you what actions you need to take for yourself. But if you avoid that part of facing this emotional loss, okay, and you try to fill it with another distraction, another relationship, or you just try to avoid it with work, or you don't want to look at emotional loss, you fear the loss, your emotional loss, you fear your emotions, then you're going to keep going through cycle of oppression until you're triggered enough to finally surrender and say, I can't hide from this anymore. I am not making the right choices when it comes to partnership, apparently, right? I keep choosing the same situation. It's different people, but the same energy that I keep going through with all these different so-called relationships. So what is the common denominator in that situation, right? It's you, right? So then you got to start looking at you instead of trying to fill it with others outside of you, because you're going to keep receiving the same energy over and over until you go within and make the choice to look at your own codependent ways and gain your independence. Stop focusing on giving everybody else your energy and making sure everybody else is okay, and start making sure you're okay. Focus on your self-love. So focus on your creativity and your victory and what makes your soul thrive, what makes your heart sing. That's what Spirit wants us to take action in, because if each and every one of us follows our soul song and we allow our heart to sing, there will be no karmic cycles. There will only be divine. There will only be joy and bliss, and people following their happiness, their peace, because they're following their soul song. They're not trying to avoid pain or grief, or avoid being judged for stepping outside of the box by following a certain way. They're following their own unique soul song, and they're not afraid to take action. And then that's leading us to a collective blissfulness. I'm hearing collectively, like every one of us following our own soul song is that beautiful energy that we're all here to experience and be in, and bring an awareness to. So we've been in the training of this, and sometimes you got to go through this part over here so you can learn what your soul song is. It's, you know, it's part of the process. Everything is divinely guided. There is no accidents in this world, no matter what people may think. I believe in the most intelligent force, which is my creator, my Father, my God. And every single thing is planned. Every hair on your head is counted and named, okay? So, to me, there's only synchronicity. There's only divine intelligence. There's no accidents. And when we start getting in that perspective of, okay, this has been planned out for this, for why is this planned out? Why was this experience meant for me to experience? How could I have went through this experience, you know, in a more positive way? If I could, sometimes I think about something and I'm like, okay, if I would have had a higher perspective at the time, what would that higher perspective of that situation have been? Now that I've gotten distance and I can look back, hindsight, it's like that's when you find the higher perspective. Maybe you didn't have higher perspective during the thick of things, but you can always gain it afterwards and apply it to the situation, right? It's all part of the process. But anyway, so what are we taking action on, Spirit? It's this independence, okay? Taking action to be independent, come out of codependent energy. Yes, divine intervention. And then there's your imagination. And then remember, Spirit said it has to be in alignment. Like if it's like your outside and your heart energy has to be in alignment, okay? It has to match. Okay, that's called spiritual integrity, because this says radiate warmth and sincerity. It's all about being sincere. I am open to sharing, accepting, communicating, and connecting with others as I focus on this moment, not the past or the future. A smile, a kind-hearted way of speaking, or a hug goes a long way towards uplifting others. I offer care and support where I can without rescuing. That's the important part, right? We offer care wherever we can, but we're not the healers of everybody. We're not the rescuers. Physician, heal thyself. When you're called a healer, your energy may be insightful and healing to another, yes, but only when you're healing thyself. Okay? We're not here to fix anyone else. We can't rescue. We can only guide and teach and lead one another, encourage. Okay? But it says, I offer care where I can without rescuing. I nurture and respect all my relationships. It's about, yes, so if you're in something and your heart's not matching up, you're not feeling like you're in a nurturing connection, if you're feeling oppressed, then how are you going to nurture that connection if you're feeling oppressed, right? If you're not feeling nurturing on the inside about a certain situation, person, place, or thing that you're involved in, then how are you supposed to nurture that connection? Like, why be there if you can't nurture it? Because then you're only going to be more oppressed, or you're going to add more oppression to the situation. That's something that Spirit's been talking to me about, right? You're either going to, when you're in a connection with one another, you're one of two things. You're either adding nurturing and encouragement, or you're adding oppression, depression, bondage, or freedom, right? You got to choose. Freedom or bondage, okay? But Divine has intervened with us to help us open our imagination and to gain a broader perspective of life, of our soul, of creation, of love, of these karmic cycles, okay? But Spirit wants us to use our imaginations, and we've got our crown chakra, third eye chakra, and our heart chakra, right? It says, I use my imagination as I create and pursue my dreams and wishes. I ask myself, what do I want? Is what you want in alignment with what's in your heart? Because if it's not, then you're going to find yourself being in an oppressive cycle that was an illusion of the Ten of Cups, and you're going to have to face the hard truth about the situation. Okay? Anyways. So it says, I create and pursue my dreams and wishes. I ask myself, what do I want? My thoughts create my reality at the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual levels. I use this power to create harmonious relationships between all these levels. I imagine the life I would like to live, and I encourage my thoughts to be truthful, wise, and discerning. In the quietness of meditation, I see and hear the truth. That's going back to what I was trying to explain about your heart, and your heart has to match up. Your heart and your mind, body, and soul alignment in regards to what you're in connection with. No matter what it is, whether it's a job, a career, a person, you doing for somebody or not doing for somebody. If it's not a holy hell yes, it's a hell no. And that's what Spirit looks at. They look at our integrity. And they want us to be aligned with our integrity because that is your soul's path. It's written in your heart. Okay, your alignment of your heart, your mind, and your heart and your mind alignment. That blissful energy is your higher soul's game plan for you. And when you're out of alignment, okay, when your heart doesn't match up with your thoughts or your thoughts don't match up with your heart, you get stuck in oppressive cycles here. Karmic cycles until you see the truth and see clearly how to move on, how to face the grief and face the truth, no matter what that looks like, and make a decision about a partnership, like a truthful decision about where you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to be doing. Is it in alignment with your soul song or is it not? Okay, and if it's not, the divine's always going to intervene to move you forward in some way. Okay, it says, I honor a higher power and know that anything is possible. I let a higher power have a more active presence in my life. And I know that my life is divinely guided. I surrender to this truth. I know that I am loved, guided, and protected by God. I am open to seeking guidance in my spiritual quest from a spiritual teacher, master, or guru. Okay, did we read that one already? Because I could have swore that we had another one about. Yeah, we got. Okay, so a lot of you guys are meeting your spiritual gurus, your spiritual teachers. You are either you are on the path of the yogi. I'm hearing you're on the path of ascended masters and teachers and gurus of being these energies. So this is training ground, Soul Tribe, for you to become the teacher, for you to master. So you're mastering karmic cycles right now. Okay? And you have many teachers who have been sent along your path to help you. You have gurus and teachers that are here, whether you call them that or not. You have many teachers that have come across your path for you, I'm hearing, that have persuaded you into moving down the path, okay? But yeah, so the divine has been sending lots of help our way to help us basically know how to take action, to recognize, abundance, to recognize our, where we need to gain independence, where we may have gotten stuck in an oppressive cycle. Like there's been so many signs along the way that have taught us how to take action, when to take action, okay, what to take action on, right? You're not alone. You have Spirit. Just the key is to move on gracefully, okay, without fear. Move on and trust in Spirit. Acknowledge Spirit instead of trying to feel ourselves with distractions. It's very important right now because you are on this path as a guru, as a teacher yourself. Okay, it's like we're in the school. We're in school. Okay, are you the teacher or the student? I'm hearing. Okay, and how you go through this energy is going to, I guess, dictate on, are you going to take another class as the student, or are you ready to graduate as this energy of a teacher for the collective or for those around you, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. They're just telling, that's what they're telling me, okay? But as you see the truth and you face this so-called emotional loss, yes, it's grief and it hurts, but you're gonna heal from it, and as you go through your healing, your dark night of the soul energy and your healing energy, you're transforming. Sometimes it's subtle transformation, and sometimes it's like a big smack in the face, take your breath away type of transformation. But regardless, it's always going to bring in the truth, and you're going to see the oppressive cycle that you may have been holding yourself to, this karmic cycle, okay, that you may have been unaware of or just accepting as the norm for you. Okay. Spirit wants you to know how to express your feelings. I allow my emotions to be fully experienced. I acknowledge feelings of grief, anger, or fear, and I make a conscious effort to express my emotions or resolve them within myself so that I can move forward freely, not oppressive, but freely, right? I let those close to me know how much I love and care for them. I forgive all those who have done me wrong in the past, as well as forgiving myself, as I could not have responded in a more evolved way than I was able to at the time. And that's what Spirit was talking about a while ago, right? You responded to the best in each situation. You did the best in the way you responded. But now, when you get distance, you get space. You can have hindsight, and you can find that higher perspective. Maybe you needed to not respond in the way that you thought you should have at the moment, so that you could learn from it, so you could gain your higher perspective, so you could have the transformation, so that you could remove the blinders and see clearly the energy. Because if you think you're always making the right choice and you don't recognize that, hey, I made a mistake, or I didn't choose this right, or I wasn't in alignment, or I was lying to myself, then you're never going to grow if you can't see the things that you need to be aware of in order to grow from. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So everything happens for a reason. But you can always look back in hindsight and gain your higher perspective, okay? Anything about this karmic cycles that you want to tell us about? Okay. Yeah, it's time to be self-sufficient and not to be codependent on others. Okay, this says self-sufficiency. And this is the karmic cycle that we're being made aware of. It's time for independence and not codependency, not attachment. It's about perceiving and being in relationship and allowing in relationship in new ways, not in attachment, codependent ways, in the box, in the way society's always has done things, but in new, open, all-encompassing, truly unconditional, loving ways, without labels, without expectation, without unforgiveness, without resentment, envy, anger, or jealousy. We're here to purge that. We got to purge it from one another before it's going to be purged from the collective, but it starts with your own soul song. Okay, your own ability to stand up and be self-sufficient and to become the teacher, okay, to become the leader in your own life, so that you can then guide and teach and lead others by your example. It says, by finding material security without being materialistic, I will gain satisfaction, stability, and inner strength. I am resourceful. I put in the effort to be responsible for supplying fundamental needs in my life, such as shelter, food, water, and clothing. I take responsibility for where I now find myself in life as I move forward. I get in touch with and trust my innate wisdom, which tells me that I will be provided for with all that I need. Like the birds of the air, God always provides everything you need. You never really truly do without. When there's no accidents for where we're at, what we're going through, what we have or don't have. It comes down to preparedness, I'm hearing, but you will always be provided for, okay? But what are you prepared for? What awareness have you acquired to be a good steward of higher vibrational things, or more money, for example, or bigger families, or smaller families, or just whatever you think you may need. sometimes we always get what we need, but it may not be exactly what we think we need, right? And so then we got to surrender to the Most High and just trust in the divinity of it all, you know? But another thing is when we're in that codependent attached energy and we're looking for another to provide, you know, shelter, food, water, clothing, emotional stability, okay, spiritual stability to us, when we're looking for someone else to give us those things, we lose our power. We are giving away our power. And that's why I feel like Spirit's telling us to be self-sufficient is embracing your power, okay? It's how you can avoid ever being oppressed by another who may have a power struggle in their life. And maybe, you know, when people provide certain things, only God is the ultimate provider, provides without expectation and without, you know, it's like when you try to get this provision from another in this world, there's always going to be an attachment created, a soul tie created in a way, because one of them is when the person who's giving the provision of whatever these things may be is the one in power, right? They feel like they have the power over the one who needs their provision, right? So it's karmic. But with God, there is no power struggle. God is sovereign, and all that you need will be given. Right? You don't have to earn it. You don't have to do anything except for sit back, ask for it, expect it, and be grateful for it, whatever it may be. But when you lean on another, whether it's a relationship or a certain job or perspective, whatever, it's like when you lean on something outside of God, outside of Spirit, right, and you try to get it through that means, then you know it's going to be a way for oppression to basically come in and take your power or kind of bind you to the fact that, oh well, you need this thing provided and I'm the one that's going to provide it, so I have the power to oppress you. It's almost like that lower energy versus the higher energy. Where are you going to get your provision from? Spirit wants us to trust in our inner knowingness. I trust my inner knowing and I am at peace with myself. I create more moments of stillness and silence and I listen for the truth. I am open to connecting with and listening to my gut and my heart's feelings, and I don't override them with my mind's logic. I practice meditation, prayer, and contemplation, okay? But guys, I'm already late for work, so I'm going to go. Spirit says we're moving towards the transformation is what I was about to ask, so I just cut the deck. And it says, oneness and unity. I accept the oneness of all life, and I know I am one with all others on this journey. I support them and let them support me. I am brave and not afraid to ask for assistance. I allow myself to empathize and sympathize with others, and I choose to see the love in and all around me. I see everything as part of my own life, and I accept others for who they are. I find common ground with others rather than differences, as this brings harmony into my life and into theirs. Wow. Yeah, that's, y'all, I don't got time to speak on that honestly right now, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get off here, y'all. I love you guys so very much. We are transforming within ourselves to this understanding of oneness and unity, of, to ask for assistance. It's okay to help one another, and we should help one another, but we don't use that as power over one another, provision or codependency. We don't want another codependent on us, and we don't want to be codependent on any other. When you give freely from your heart without expecting in return. That's how God gives, right? That's how we're supposed to show up and give and be with one another in the world, to freely give to one another without expectation of repayment, but truly, if it's in your heart to give or do for another, then you give and do because it's in your heart. And if they pay you back or they pay you back in word, deed, or action or money, whatever it is, it'll always come back to you, right? If things will always be paid forward. That's one thing I've learned in life. I've given to different people in my life, and maybe they weren't able to return the favor to me, right? And I never expected it. But down the road, I received the help I needed at different times when I needed it from others. And it's just the way it is. Doesn't mean that the person I helped had to help me. Maybe they're not able, and that's okay. I don't expect it. But I know that God will always provide the help I need right when I need it in the way that I need it, and it'll come from where God wants it to come from. So I can freely give without judgment or expectation or trying to have power over another. That's not cool. That's not love. That's oppression. It's attachment. It's control tactics. It's the old perception of tradition and relationship that we have with one another. We're here to break free from it. Okay. Anyways, I love y'all. Bye, guys.